of people are saying that Sneako is waking up from the red pill. All right. Now, I have not seen the conversations. I have not reviewed the videos. I've only captured the clips that you guys want me to use as a reference point in order to have this conversation. So, if anybody is familiar with Sneako, Sneako has recently been banned from YouTube and certain social media platforms. I think he got kicked off of Twitch also, but he is on Rumble. So, shout out to Rumble. We are going to be ramping up our Rumble bag starting in June, so that is absolutely awesome. Thank you, Rumble, for continuing to support us. They saying that Sneako is waking up from the red pill. So I want to go ahead and play the clip that you guys sent me so that we can better understand exactly what's being communicated here and evaluate it for ourselves. All right. So Sneako and Destiny apparently was on Fresh and Fit, and they were having a debate, and they were breaking down exactly what their thoughts are with related to social issues, apparently, with regard to relationships, men and women. Get a like for the YouTube algorithm, subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications. I'm going to be reading Super Chat shortly. Let's get into it, y'all.
We saw Rollo said something yesterday on Twitter saying that men should get vasectomies in their 20s just to prevent this, which I completely disagree with. I think that it's important to have family values and to prepare for eventual parenthood. But that's the cope that a lot of men have. Like, why raise a family in this scenario? Why like risk having a child with somebody who's wanting to build an empire or wanting to be as famous as Rihanna when you could just play it safe and do the snip snip? But I disagree with him completely. I want to know what you think about that. Rollo, like the Godfather Red Pill, who's pretty much like created a lot of these ideologies, is saying like avoid having a family.
I have not. It's so much content that I have not consumed, that I am not familiar with yet. And I am starting to become familiar as a result of having these conversations on YouTube. And I'm learning a lot more. But I have not been a consumer of Rollo Tomassi, even though I've heard his name and I've seen him as far as what he looks like and stuff like that on YouTube. And the only time that I've ever reacted to any Rollo Tomassi content specifically is when I did a review of what was going on between him, Donovan Sharp, and I think it was Abba and Preach at the time, but that was like a couple months ago or something, right? So I'm learning more about what his thoughts are as an individual, right? Now, Red Pill, from my perspective, isn't an ideology. It's the idea that you understand or you can see things clearly for what it is. You're removing the veil from your eyes, you're jumping outside of the matrix, and you understand female nature, right? Now, Red Pill versus giving advice of what men should do is based off in your own life experiences, right? So if this guy is a single guy and he's recently got divorced, and so he's giving advice based off of how not to put yourself in a position to get wiped out in family court, then he's using an awareness or the reality of what it is that he sees happening in society, removing the veil from his eyes and his own life experiences to then speak to a certain demographic of an audience. I often say, yo, it's a difference between being married and being successfully married, right? And so when I have a conversation based off of relationships, I'm speaking from the perspective of a person that understands what it takes to be successfully married. And that's why women get so triggered, because they can't then use the idea of, well, who are you? Why should you even be able to give advice on how it is that you can get married if you haven't been married? Well, I am married. I'm successfully married. And that's what qualifies me to be able to speak on this particular subject. So when we talk about Red Pill, it's really just bringing awareness to the reality that what men are facing in society today. Nothing less, nothing more. All right, let's continue with the video.
I think that's complete cope. Like that's just that's when it becomes a black hole and really kind of black. Like
I think sad, I think given the marketplace that we're in, it's a reasonable strategy.
Avoid family.
Well, here's the thing. The upsides are great, but the downsides will absolutely demolish you. I mean, you can look at the Tradecons right now that's going through. I mean, look at Steven Crowder right now, bro. So it's like, and I think that's why so many guys are going abroad, because at least there, like, the women value family more than here. I mean, a lot of the girls here said, I want a family, but if you notice, like, the things that they're working on isn't necessarily to be a better mom. So I think one or two of you guys mentioned that, but not many of you. Most of you guys were prioritizing your career and your education, your own self-improvement, which is great. That's fantastic. But that's more of a masculine thing. Like, you got to ask yourself, is the guy that you want is he going to want that back in return? Is he going to want another him? I mean, would you guys, what if I lined up a bunch of dudes here and I said, what are y'all going to do to get the wife of your dreams? And they all said, oh, well, I'm getting manicures. I'm buying really nice designer. I'm getting dressed up really well. I'm doing my eyebrows. I'm getting haircuts every week. Would y'all take those guys seriously?
No.
Probably not, right? Because the things they're working on only benefit them, not necessarily you, right? Yeah. So, I mean, that's kind of how you got to look at it from the male perspective. Like, it's great that you guys are working on your money and everything, but it doesn't really benefit us as men.
I think we should ask as well.
Yeah.
The balance in this conversation is for a woman to be able to be successful, right? Let's just say you making money and you got an apartment or you got a home or whatever like that, and you got a car and you're paying off your debt. I don't attribute that to masculinity or femininity. I attribute that to just being an adult, right? And I'm going to be reading super chats in a second. Shout out to Early Life Check. I don't believe that you deserve credit for doing a thing that you're supposed to do as an adult. You're supposed to be able to take care of yourself. You're supposed to be able to pay off your bills. You're supposed to be able to get out of debt. You're supposed to become whole, and nobody wants to save you from yourself once you get into a relationship. And that's the balance, right? The balance is, okay, listen, you shouldn't be too extreme on one side and too extreme on another side. I don't even believe in extremities when it comes to political stances. I'm a conservative. I generally lean towards more conservative values or people that are running for office that are conservative. But at the same time, I don't like extreme anything because then you become what we call an incel, right? An extreme right person is a person that then, wants to kill everybody and storm the Capitol and all of that. I'm not rocking with that. A person on the extreme left is irrational and they can't look at things objectively to even be able to evaluate who the people that are running for office. They just vote just based off of whether or not you're on the left or the right. And so I think the extremities, without finding any kind of temperance in the middle, is what make these conversations difficult to have. A woman going out and getting a job prior to getting in a relationship, before she actually has a conversation and taking care of herself, is just being an adult. That don't make you unique. That don't make you special. You don't deserve extra credit for it. You literally are just an adult. And I don't really see anything wrong with a woman working.
How many of you want kids with men? In terms of, like, for example, having a father in the household too as well.
I think everyone.
Everybody?
Yeah,
Everybody?
Okay, cool.
Okay. None of y'all want like a surrogate or anything like that?
No.
Yeah. But no, I think Rollo's assessment is spot on for the West. But I think that's why so many guys are going abroad, because women have more traditional values. I mean, hell, some of the girls here are foreign, but they still have fairly Western values, right? If we went to Romania or something like that, when we were there, like, girls aren't going to say, oh yeah, my career and making money. They're like, fuck that shit, I want to be home.
But the obsession, well, like the reason you said that is like how to become a high value man. The obsession with becoming high status and having other people admire you instead of reach your peak happiness, which is having a family, that's where it becomes kind of bleak. Like, what makes you high value? Other people's perception, having a lot of money, having a network. Like, why does that matter? Why does being a high value man matter if you're not going to eventually start a family?
Because look at all the girls here. They're all propping themselves up to be that high value man. That's why.
Just
See, I don't understand. I think they both wrong. I think they're both wrong. And I think that becoming high value is just the label that we put on it, but we always are chasing the best version of ourselves. I don't think that your objective should ever be a woman. If you're doing it for a woman, then I think that you're doing it the wrong way. I think that you should be doing it for yourself, understanding that the money comes with it, understanding that the women comes with it, understanding that the opportunities come with it, right? I don't have to do it for a car, but I want the ability or the availability of being able to get the car if I want the car. You shouldn't become a quote unquote high value man so that you can then impress other people. You're doing it so that you have the options to do what you want to do when you want to do it, right? I'm not interested in having a whole lot of kids. As a matter of fact, my wife and I had a conversation about whether or not we wanted a kid anyway. But my ability to be able to travel the world and experience life as I seen fit, depending on where it was in my life at the time, was based off of the fact that I have the resources and I work my ass off in order to get to the space that I want to, right? And so it has to be a balance. Becoming a high value man cannot just be so that you can get women or so that people can pay attention to you or anything like that. The women are going to come with it. The money comes with you being great. And that's why we call ourselves bag chasers, because bag chasers is becoming the best version of yourself understanding that the money and everything else comes along with it, right? No?
And we're calling that bleak, and we're calling that out and saying it's empty. So why are we advocating for the same thing on the other side?
Because it's not going to change, bro. Feminism is here and it's not going anywhere. Like, women will not concede whatsoever. Like, they're going to continue to make money. They're going to continue to gain status. They're going to continue to, you know, go up the ranks. Women are going to out-earn men in the next 20 years. I predict it. They're dominating men when it comes to college
being
graduation.
Bleak about it is kind of a waste, because we've seen some, like, I think your answer is exactly what I saw girls in Eastern Europe doing, trying to get closer to God, working on their health, working on making sure they're emotional.
I thought Sneako was like the complete opposite of what it is. Is he just debating because this is the role that he's supposed to play on this particular podcast, or is this what he's evolved into? And you have the right to evolve or change your mind or become a completely different person depending on where you are in your life. Often at times the things that we thought when we were younger, we continue to evolve and we change when we get older. But I just thought he was a completely different person. I thought that he was more like Myron and fresh.
Mature. That's what Eastern European women are doing. So it's not like you can't just put a blanket over all the women here and say, give up and cut off your fucking balls from your dick so that
No, I get that. I'm all for families, man. I've always said it. The nuclear family is the backbone of any thriving society. However, when half the equation of having a nuclear family doesn't necessarily prioritize a nuclear family, as a man, you got to make some adaptations, because if you do make a nuclear family with someone that isn't as interested in making a nuclear family with you, and they're rewarded for leaving that nuclear family through divorce courts, alimony, etc. As a guy, you got to kind of reassess how you want to move. So I'm saying families are fantastic, but it's a very dangerous proposition in the West, in the United States. That's my thing. But I'm all for families, though. I am, trust me. Come from a two-parent household. I would probably be a fucked up idiot if I didn't come from a two-parent household. But my parents are from the Middle East. They have different culture values. You know, religion is a thing. Here, religion isn't that big. Feminism is here. Women prioritize careers, just seen through. And all these girls are young, too. That's the crazy part.
Yeah,
they're all young.
Young panel.
You know what I mean? So
what's your take on this? I want to hear Fresh and Fit's take on this. There's 15,000 men watching for the most part. Should men in their 20s get a vasectomy?
Personally, I would say, looking at it from a holistic standpoint, I get what Rollo's saying for the whole topic itself of being high value, because once again, if you get a woman pregnant that's not there for you, she could be against you and it could turn into many different things. But personally, like I was saying earlier, for me, I do want a family. If I meet the right woman, I think is going to raise that child. But for most men, do they have I want to say, resources to find a woman that they want, of their dreams, or even get the right woman? Probably not. So to be safe.
Here's my question. What happened to using a rubber? I don't understand. Why is the extremity getting a vasectomy? I don't understand. You have to be absolutely 100% sure, 100% sure that you don't ever want to have a kid. Even when you go in for your consultation, I don't know if these guys ever got a vasectomy. I don't know if Rollo Tomassi got a vasectomy, because he's the one that started this conversation, apparently. They question you. They ask you. They say, have you had this conversation? Are y'all 100% sure? Are you this and that? They make you come back. You can't just go and get a vasectomy right then and there unless you're going to get it in the Dominican Republic or Mexico or something like that, right? But what happened to using a rubber? I don't understand. Okay, so you're not sure. If you're not 100% sure, because I was 100% sure after I had my daughter, and so that's one of the reasons why I got my vasectomy immediately. I ain't want to be dealing with birth control and all of that other type of stuff. If you're not married and you out here sleeping around, because the scenario that they posing is based off of a certain type of lifestyle, aren't you supposed to be wearing a rubber anyway? What happened to STIs? What happened to STDs? What happened to worrying about not getting chlamydia and herpes and all of this other type of stuff? Why wouldn't I wear a rubber anyway? I'm genuinely curious. Why wouldn't I wear a rubber? Why do I need to have a vasectomy, especially if you're a young guy earlier in your life, in order to prevent yourself from getting a woman pregnant while you having unprotected sex with a woman that you're not married to? I'm gonna read super chat shortly. I'm just curious. Honestly, I'm just curious. Why do you have to make a permanent decision based off of a temporary perspective? And this is why we as content creators, and why I'm so heavy on you have to validate your position by actually being a reflection of the thing that you're advocating for. Because we then hold a level of responsibility to the people that we influence. If you subscribe to me, or you tap into my live streams, or you believe in me, I have a duty to give you the truth and help you to understand, not so I can do it from a financial perspective, but because I want to add the most value into your life so that I actually help you become the best version of yourself. Because then I have a responsibility of how it is that I influence you. I'm not just going to tell you something just for the sake of telling you because it sounds good or it's a talking point. I'm going to stand on that because this is what my life is a reflection of, and I really believe it in my heart, and I know that it works. That's why I show y'all the receipts. That's why in a Patreon, I give you what's going on the back. I'm not going to tell you how to be successful on YouTube or how to extract 6 figures a month on YouTube just from AdSense alone, not regarding any kind of sponsorships or anything like that. I'm going to show you the receipts. First, I'm going to do it myself. If you notice, I haven't given you any information with regard to building a house because I've been building a house and I'm documenting the process. And then I'm going to take my learned experiences and then I'm going to give you the game and reveal it in a whole video and then do webinars supporting that so that I can answer all of your questions. I'm willing to take the hit so that you don't have to suffer through it. I'm never going to give you advice or speak to something that I'm not an expert in or that I have not experienced it myself. So I don't understand why they're telling these guys to make permanent decisions based off of the things that's a temporary feeling. That don't make sense to me. Where's the middle road? Wear a rubber, exercise dick discipline. Every woman shouldn't have access to you anyway. Continue to level up, become the best version of yourself, and then the way in which you find your wife is X, Y, and Z.
Safe, vasectomy might be in their best interest.
So yes.
No, I'm saying, okay, so
It's a yes or no.
It depends on the individual. That's what I'm saying. So it's up to the man to decide for himself, but I'm just saying, generally for me, I think family is very important, but I understand why most men might not want that because finding a woman that's actually good for you may be kind of hard. So I get
ducking a little bit.
In America specifically.
In America, yeah.
In America, to be specific.
What do you think?
Let's get the ladies' takes on it, and then I'll give my opinion because I don't want to corrupt them with my take.
Okay.
All right, ladies. Let's make this a little bit more engaging. Let's say you have a son. He's 21 years old, building up a business, whatever it may be, is becoming somewhat successful. Actually, you know what? Let's say 30 years old, because let's be honest, 21-year-old guy.
I'm going to be reading Super Chat shortly, y'all. Thank y'all for subscribing and hitting a like for the YouTube algorithm.
It's fucking useless. He ain't doing nothing with life. So 30-year-old guy, building up a business. He's on his way to becoming successful. Should he have a vasectomy, knowing how women move nowadays and how girls can trap guys? Should he have a vasectomy? We could start on the couch and then work our way.
Absolutely not.
What are your thoughts?
If he's 21 years old, absolutely not. Listen, no 21-year-old is automatically going to be a high-value man. You don't even have the capacity to be a high. Do y'all even know what the steps are or what it is that we've defined as a high-value man? Let's use Kevin Samuels. Do they have a great network? Do they even generate that type of money? Most 21-year-olds is not even out of high school. I mean, it's not even out of college. You don't even hit your peak earnings until you get in your late 50s, early 60s. Most 30-year-old guys is just now figuring out that their mama gave them the wrong information on what it takes in order to be the man, and they just starting to get their life together in the first place. The scenario is a bad scenario. What 21-year-old man is already going to be a high-value man? Because I don't even think that making 6 figures make you a high-value man. I think when you start to really take into consideration inflation and what the cost of living is, your ability to be able to raise a family, maybe a 4 total, 2 kids, a wife, carry a mortgage, then you ain't got no debt. Most of these dudes still living in debt and all of this stuff. You got to make at least, in my opinion, and I said this a long time ago, you got to make at least $250,000 a year to be considered high value. That's just on a financial scale. That ain't got nothing to do with anything else, networking, presentation, being able to have a reputable LinkedIn, all of that other type of stuff. You got to be at least, let me finish. Let me play a little bit more of this.
If he's really successful, I mean, I've seen men get trapped, so I'd probably be more prone to saying yes if he was, like a target. But on the whole, I think no.
Okay.
No, I would
No?
tell my
Okay.
son completely no
Okay.
to not do that.
Fair.
Honestly, if they don't want to have children, then yeah. But
I think that every man should be able to like decide if they want to have a children or not.
All right.
And it's like important. So I don't think so, honestly.
Okay.
Like you can just find women that.
Let me give y'all a little bit more insight on vasectomies, right? They are reversible, but they're reversible based off of how long you've had them. Okay, the longer that you have a vasectomy, the less likely that the reverse will be successful as far as undoing what you did, which is one of the reasons why they have these conversations with you, and the doctors want to make sure you're 100% sure that you know this is what you want to do before you do it.
Follow your values in another part of the world, as you said. Like,
All right. So you're saying you just go somewhere else.
yeah, just like go somewhere.
But what if they decide to stay in the States?
Honestly, I still think that there's women out there that can be like mother.
Okay.
Like
What about you?
material.
Honestly, if he wants to, then that's fine with me. But can't you get a vasectomy undone?
You can, yeah.
Yeah, so like I wouldn't be opposed to it at all. Like
You
if
could also
do it, yeah.
detransition after becoming trans.
I mean,
Yeah.
Like, but you don't ever want people to do that in the first place. Like you're messing up your body. Once you take puberty blockers, you can go off them, but there's going to be a physical difference.
exactly. I mean, if he wants to take that risk, I don't really care because I know that they be getting like some girls be lying, doing other shit, and like
I haven't heard anybody mention a condom. I haven't heard one person mention a condom. Do anybody use condoms anymore? Is Trojan going out of business? Do they need another marketing campaign?
prep now, and then they take all his shit and then leave. So I'm not opposed to it at all,
yeah.
actually.
All right. What about you?
I would say no, but I mean,
Okay.
it's their choice.
All right.
Like, I would hope that I raise them like a good, like they have a good sense of moral and they'd be able.
These women don't even know how to talk. They don't even have no confidence. Where do they get these drags from? These are like children. These are babies. These are literally like babies talking right here. I wouldn't even take what they have to say seriously.
To pick the right like woman.
Okay. What about you?
I think it depends on a lot of like what his lifestyle is. Like if he's, let's say,
This is why I could never date a child. I call women that are 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, unless you're at least 25 years old, you are a child to me. I am not ever, look, if I'm single today, there's no way in the world that I would ever have a conversation with these women. You know what it would be like having a conversation, trying to talk to a child and talking about whether or not I'm going to marry her or not? I'm not interested in talking to you hoes. They don't even know how to make a coherent statement. They can't even think for themselves. These children need their father. Listen, if they got daddies, they shouldn't even be on this show. I'm going to be 100% real with you. These little hussies should not even be on the internet right now. They should be figuring out what it is that they want to do in their life, and they sitting here on. Shout out to them. Listen, do what you do. I think that Fresh and Fit has figured out how to put on a great show. I'm not ever going to take that from them. I'm just talking about the women themselves. There's no way that these chicks that got a father should be on this show talking like they know what they're talking about. They are completely out of the loop. You imagine having a conversation with a woman that's this age? I'm a grown man. I'm a grown man. I'm not talking to no chick. And she can't even make a... Look at that. She looked like a baby over there on the right. She literally looked like a baby on the right. Man, I couldn't even get turned on by these chicks, bro.
starting his business and he's very focused on money and things like that, but he's like constantly meeting new women and engaging with these women.
Yeah.
Then I would say, okay, there's like ways that you can use instead of a vasectomy to avoid the baby, but I have also heard of like women trapping men and things like that, but I feel like it's up to him. Like if he thinks like, no, I'm gonna.
She said like about 80 times, yo. Somebody in the chat just said it. Santandra Jackson.
Get trapped. Like I'm getting like I'm meeting new women and I'm doing this and I'm like, you know, having intimate moments with them, and you know what, do what you want to do, what makes you happy. And
Hey, somebody go.
So yes or no?
I feel like it's just up to him. Like if he wants,
What advice would you give him though?
They don't even know how to make a decision for themselves. What do you want to eat tomorrow? It's up to you. It's like,
I would say
As the mom.
as the mom of my son,
This is
I would say
painful.
like don't go around, you know, sticking it in whatever and whoever. Like why don't you, if you're so focused on, you know, starting a family or, you know, you want to grow, why are you, you know, giving time and energy into things that are just going to be gone in the next morning?
Based.
Okay, so I'll take that as a no. What about you?
Oh, no.
He was like, yeah, I'm gonna just take it as a no.
I think there's still a lot of women with values and that can like be a good mothers and stuff like that here in
She
Florida.
don't know how to speak English. Where'd they get her from?
Okay. In Florida?
Well, you say Florida, right?
Okay.
Because she's
Well, I mean in the United States.
oh, well, yeah.
Okay. What about you?
I wouldn't want him to. I would just tell him to work on his discernment as far as who he's having sex with.
Mhm.
But if he made the decision to have sex with somebody unprotected or whatever happens, then he has to live with those
She the first person that said anything about sex unprotected. The first woman that said anything about it. The first person on the panel that said anything about it.
consequences.
All right. What about you?
I personally would tell him I wouldn't want him to do it, but like you can't really control what happens. Things happen, and yeah, that's what they have to live with, and they have to deal with that and provide for that child. And you know, you always just have to be careful.
Oh, this is like chalkboard.
I mean, at his big age, I feel like he should know the consequences of doing something.
Nails on the
like that. I would
chalkboard.
definitely advise him against it because, like you were saying, you know, puberty blockers and all that. Like once you do something to your body, it's very hard. I mean, impossible to reverse anything that you've done. So,
what did you say or something?
The more successful the guy, the more money he has. My take on it, man, I think it's a sliding scale. The more successful the guy, the more money he has, the more he has to lose, the more vasectomy might be a good choice. But again, it depends on the guy. If the guy's not smashing at all, do you want to do that? And, you know, obviously you can always undo the snip. So it really depends on the individual. And I think the two main variables are his success and how promiscuous he is with dealing with women. I think those two factors heavily influence the decision. It's going to change per person.
Right, but his take, Rollo's take was that to be a high value man, the top 3 steps: avoid family creation, get a vasectomy, and have a network. It's just like the generic male self-improvement stuff. But
yeah, I wouldn't abide by that either. Even that's why when I talk to guys on a regular basis and I say, hey, I say, what are you looking for in this conversation? And they say, okay, well, I'm looking for A, B, C, and D. And then I start to do a deep dive into who they are and what their family history is and stuff like that, because you can't give a one-size-fits-all solution to a complicated individual that you don't fully understand. A lot of people don't even know what they want yet. They don't even know where they're going to be in life. They don't know what their trajectory is. They have no clue. I don't know why people just don't say, hey, use a rubber if you're going to sleep around, but exercise a level of dick discipline so you don't get caught up in Me Too in the first place. It's a very simple answer for me.
Like 2 of the top 3, get a vasectomy and avoid family creation. Do you agree?
Did he say avoid? I don't think he said avoid.
Word for word. Avoid family creation.
It's on Twitter.
Top 3 steps to become a high value man.
Okay. I didn't see this tweet. I'll have to take a look at it. But
let me look at this.
I mean, here's the thing. I think what he means by that is being the most, when he says high value man, he's talking from the perspective of being able to be a playboy and get as many girls.
But why is that a priority over having a family? Like, why would that even be advice?
Yeah, that don't have
self-improvement advice.
Honestly, that don't have nothing to do with being a playboy. Don't have nothing to do with being a high value man. Let me see if I can find this tweet. Value man. Let me play this while we playing it.
Be a playboy instead of raise a family. Well, we make fun of women all day for wanting to be girl boss queens and sleep around and have all this, and then you tell guys be a playboy instead of raise a family. That's the same advice on the other side.
Because here's the thing: when you're a playboy, you're going to be better at raising the family, and the reason.
But he's saying avoid family creation.
What? When you're a playboy, you're going to be better at raising. Where you get that from? Did I hear what I just heard? Hold on, let me rewind this. He said, being a playboy, you're going to be better at raising a family. That's wrong.
Avoid family creation.
Well, he's saying to be a high value. He's talking from the frame, knowing Rollo, because I know him personally. He's talking from the frame of being a guy getting a lot of girls. And then if you decide you want to get a family down the road, You can always unsnip and then go ahead and go down the family route. But in today's day and age, I agree to a degree that you need to have sex with at least 50 girls as a guy. I've talked about that all the time. It's controversial, but the reason why I say that is because most women are more promiscuous than most guys.
What? You need to sleep with at least 50 girls? This can't be life. It cannot be life. You need to sleep with at least 50 girls? Come on, man. Come on. Listen. Look. Let's be real. Let's be 100. I'm going to be 1,000% real. All right? If you that type of dude that's really focused, let's say you not even married, right? Let's say you just a dude that's just getting it, you hustling or whatever. Who has time to go and chase 50 hoes? Who has time? Listen, if you getting that bag, and I'm talking about a dude that's really getting that bag. I'm not talking about you going and you working 40 hours and then you go and you playing video games. Who has time to chase that many women? I don't even have time to spend with my own daughter half the time, let alone be chasing no hoes. What dude chases hoes that's really about that bag? Man, this is wild. This is wild, bro. Now I can see it. I can see why people say some of the things that they say about the guys that be in this space. This is too much. It's too much. I couldn't do it. I'm not doing it.
So if you're a dude and you're getting out here and dating girls and you get your pee-pee wet with the first girl, she could sell you a dream and you'll be like, oh yeah, this is great. So guys got to get out there and be sexually experienced. So he's talking from the frame of being attractive.
I think most guys out here,
if you need to get a vasectomy in order to hit 50 chicks, then that means that you're going to probably be walking around with an STI shortly thereafter based off of the statistics. Is everybody getting tested before they just out here running through these holes?
are not going to be able to control their sexual urges. So he's saying
dude.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got it?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. The quickest path to becoming a high-value man. Do not get married. Avoid family creation. Vasectomy in your 20s. Live consistently. Eliminate all sedations. Learn game and networking. Play to your strengths. Build wealth. Resist easing up on your focus. He's talking about increasing your value when you're young.
Becoming successful, yeah.
Becoming successful. Yeah.
Avoid family creation and get a vasectomy.
Yeah, because when you, because your value doesn't go up until you're built something, and that's typically going to be in your 30s.
So most guys,
that's what he's saying.
What do they focus on? Girls the whole time. He's saying at this point in your career, when you're on the way up, focus on things that are going to help you move forward in life and become successful.
Yeah.
Okay. There's so much wrong with this conversation, especially with regard to game, right? What is game? What is game? Your ability to be able to communicate with people is universal. You don't have to use no pickup lines. Look, I'm going to just be real. I've seen Fresh's pickup game. I've seen his lines that he used in order to get girls allegedly based off of the videos that was released. Y'all really think that that's game? You don't really need game to get girls. You just got to be confident and be yourself. Let me say it one more time for the people in the back. You don't need game. The only thing that you have to do is be confident and be straightforward and be yourself. And your ability to talk to people translates across the board. That means you can have a conversation in front of a woman. You can have a conversation in a boardroom. You can have a conversation with your peers. You can have a conversation with children. You can have a conversation with people that you've never met before, and then that allows for you to be able to network effectively. You don't need no game. You just got to be confident, be yourself, be chill. Don't be too overly excited as it relates to the people that you talk to. Give praise and admonition when needed, and pull back and not be too much of a fanboy when you get in front of people that's actually significant, and just learn how to add value into people's lives. It's that simple. It's not that difficult. That's just right off the top of my head. You don't need game. You just got to be chill, be yourself, and then be able to be around the people that actually add value into your life to be able to have discernment. It's not that difficult. Game? Come on, man. You should be able to go up and introduce yourself to anybody and be able to have a conversation without even thinking twice about it. The problem a lot of times is that dudes think with they dick, which then leads the conversation, instead of just being chill, having a conversation, understanding that if she wants you, it's yours to lose, not yours to try to get and have game.